Warning, in this video you will hear about one of the greatest 4K Blu-rays to come out in 2020. And yes, I'm as surprised to be saying that as you are to be hearing it. I'm going to be reviewing the 4K release of Flash Gordon, so stick around if you want to see why this is so essential. Hello, my name's Elliot and this channel is all about Blu-ray collecting. So, this Flash Gordon release, it's just come out here in the UK from Studiocanal. I've got my copy here, and it's the same release as in the US from Arrow Video. It's the same transfer, the restoration was done by Studiocanal, and all of the features are the same, I believe, as well. It's just a difference in packaging. So, here is my Flash Gordon 4K box set. And this is a thing of beauty, both the packaging and the actual disc itself. In this video, I'm going to talk mainly about the picture quality and audio quality of the 4K disc first. Then I'll talk a bit about the special features and I'll talk about the packaging of this particular release. So I'll timestamp the video below, so if you want to just skip around to a certain point, if you're not interested about the packaging or if you're not interested about the video quality, which would be very surprising, then yeah, you can skip around to your heart's content. So let's put this release down for a bit. I'm going to talk a bit about the picture quality, but first let me just talk a bit about the film itself and give a bit of context. So Flash Gordon was released in 1980. This is a film directed by Mike Hodges and produced by the famous producer Dino De Laurentiis. It's this big fantasy sci-fi frolicking movie, very much hot on the heels of Star Wars, which came out just a few years before. And a very interesting history because George Lucas originally wanted to make a Flash Gordon movie, but he didn't have the money to get the actual rights to the IP. When Star Wars came out and was a massive success, then Dino De Laurentiis looked at that and went, oh gosh, we should actually make the Flash Gordon film that George Lucas kind of had the idea for. The idea for the film went through many directors' hands before landing with Mike Hodges, and it turned into this big campy sci-fi cult classic. On paper, the film shouldn't work because it's very visually colourful, almost to the point of being over the top. It has this soundtrack by Queen, which you'd think wouldn't fit, but then it actually kind of works. And it's horribly miscast and the actors are totally hamming it up. Yet it all comes together and just works, and I can't explain it, but I had such a fun time watching this on this 4K disc. So anyway, how does the 4K disc look? Because that's what we're mostly here to talk about. It looks amazing. Honestly, it blew me away completely. The film was shot on film stock, so it has a very natural looking grain. There's been no digital noise reduction or any kind of smoothing effects on the image, so it looks completely natural and it doesn't look waxy, so there's no Terminator 2 kind of nonsense going on here. It looks perfect in my opinion. The use of high dynamic range or HDR on this disc is amazing. There's already so many colours and the film is very vibrant. And there's a lot of red, a lot of gold, and a lot of green. But within those colours, the actual spectrum of the shades of colour it's incredible to look at. I've seen some people talk about a certain softness to the image, but that was actually the filmmaker's intention. They used some filters actually over the camera lens to kind of give it that soft look, and the colour and the light is very diffused, particularly in some scenes like in the bedroom and in certain close-ups of the characters. The light is very much diffused and it's very soft, but that is the intention, so that's not an error of the restoration. Some of the visual effects used in the film are very much of their time, and when the film is shown in 4K, you can see all of the scars of that. So you can see the lines around some of the imposed images against backdrops, and some of the special effects in it, they look, well, they show how they were made on screen. But obviously nothing can be done about that because that's how the film was made. So in that respect, some people might not like that, but fans of the film will absolutely love it. And some of the practical effects actually look very good as well. So I'm a big fan of how this film looks in general. If you're enjoying this video about the Flash Gordon beautiful 4K release from Studiocanal, please do consider subscribing to this channel for more videos about 4K Blu-ray collecting. You'd hear about these videos as soon as they get uploaded, and you could be part of this awesome community that we have here. Anyway, back to the 4K Flash Gordon review. There are two audio tracks on this disc. There's a 5.1 DTS surround sound mix, and then there's a 2.0 stereo mix. So you've got a choice there depending on what your setup is and which one you'd prefer to use. I thought the audio was incredible. Now, I've heard some people say that some of the audio is a bit front heavy and is a bit too much in certain areas. I didn't really experience that. The audio didn't take me out of the experience at all. Honestly, I thought it sounded amazing. Like the Queen soundtrack, the way it's thumping in the film, it sounds brilliant. The dialogue is very clear, you don't miss any of the dialogue, and the sound effects and everything, just it all comes together. And I think the audio tracks are great, so I wouldn't worry about the audio on this release. So that's the video and the audio, but let's talk about the Studiocanal 5-disc limited edition box set. This may already be out of stock, but you can find the disc in the Flash Gordon steelbook, which is still available, and Studiocanal will be releasing a standard 4K disc later down the line. So that will stand for all of those releases. And the Arrow Video Edition, like I mentioned, has the same 4K disc with the same special features as well, I believe. So all of that's the same. So you can buy in confidence after hearing this review. I'll pull out the contents of this in a minute, but I'll just say what the discs are. So disc 1 is the 4K disc, and that does have some special features, including 2 commentary tracks, and there's a very interesting documentary about a version of Flash Gordon that was never made, directed by the great Nicholas Roeg. So I would have loved to have seen what that would be like. It would have been very different to this. It wouldn't have been campy. It would have been very serious and political, and look at all the ethical issues, you know, very much what Roeg was like. So that was very interesting. And then the other discs in here, there's 3 Blu-ray discs packed with special features, and then there's the audio soundtrack CD. The actual box itself has this shiny effect, so it's a very nice box indeed. Just a shame about the ratings logos that are printed on the front and the side, but what can you do? That's what Studiocanal does these days. So inside, I'm just going to pull this out. So the box comes off like that, and then you get this inside, which unwraps. So that unwraps to show all of the discs as seen here floating over my head, and that's the audio CD as well. And on the back of this, you've got artwork from the film as well. There's more stuff inside though. You get this flash patch that you could put on a jacket or a cap or something. There's some art cards in there. There's a fold out poster that you could put on your wall. There's a collector's edition booklet which has various essays and interviews and stuff in there. There's this, which is Flash Gordon, the official story of the film, which is mostly just still images in there. And then there's this comic strip booklet which has original Flash Gordon comic strips inside. So that is everything you get inside the box. So there's a lot in there for the Flash Gordon fans out there. So in conclusion, Flash Gordon is a film that I would recommend to any 4K enthusiasts that are looking for a very well-made 4K disc, and that stands whether you get this Studiocanal edition, whether you get the standard edition that's going to be released later on, or if you get the Arrow Video edition that's available in the US. So all of these are great 4K discs, and like I said at the top of this video, this is shot to being one of my favorite 4K discs, so I'm so happy to have this in the collection. That about does it for this video, so thank you very much for joining me, and a big shout out as always to my Patreon supporters, in particular the Fellini fanatics whose names I'll include on the screen right now. And if you want to check out my Patreon page, you can just go to patreon.com/boutique Blu-rays, and you can check out the exclusive videos that you can get for being a subscriber on there. I'll be back with more 4K videos very soon, but if you want to stick around on the channel, just click one of the videos that's going to be suggested to you now, because I'm sure you could get some great 4K recommendations from me. Anyway, I'll be back very soon, so until then, stay well and keep watching great films.